Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Benjamin and this one's going to be a bit of a doozy. So let's roll up our sleeves, grab your kombucha or water, whatever you drink. Oh, that really popped open. Beer, whatever you drink. I'm having a Flying Ember kombucha here. Anyways, let's get started. So this bill SB1211 is the reason why I am here doing this. It got in my head after a year plus of a lot of stuff happening in the world, as we all know. This happened and I just couldn't shake it. So I read the bill, read through it, and this is going to be a breakdown, but it's not going to be a huge breakdown of the whole thing. It's just going to be a few specific key points. So here's the main points about this bill that kind of I didn't like. If there's anything you take away these three things. It was rushed. The science wasn't considered because the Idaho fishing game was only given 24-hour notice before this bill was introduced. And third big main thing is the methods of kill are not okay. I've heard these methods of kill related to, well, to put it in perspective, it was said like this. If you were to see a child in your neighborhood with their bicycle doing these things to a cat, you would think they were a psychopath, and you'd probably contact your homeowners association or call the police or whatever you might be doing to take care of it, because it's really not okay. So the other reason it should be mentioned here is where they're giving power. They're giving power to what's called the Idaho Wolf Depredation Control Board, which is housed under the governor's office, and it's given in this bill, and here's the bill right here. It gives this control board, whose purpose is to manage money for controlling wolf depredation, but it gives them a lot of control on when and how and who and stuff like that, which there's some conflict of interest too, but we'll get to that. Let's start with the section 1. The first big thing is that they're adding private contractors. Why? I don't know. Who are private contractors? Basically anybody who says, hey, I'm a private contractor, you could pay me. Within that, they're also giving them more money to kill wolves. So they're financially incentivizing private contractors, not just state or federal agencies whose job it is to manage animals, but just anybody. The next biggest thing about the bill that seems super weird in this first section is how much power they're giving into the Wolf Depredation Control Board. Wolf Depredation Control Board. So let me just pull it up on their website. Idaho Wolf Depredation Control Board. And I've been here a few times and you can take a look with me. So it started in 2014 in the office of the governor. The board is tasked with directing and managing funds for the purpose of wolf depredation control within the state of Idaho. Their job is just to manage funds for the purpose of killing wolves as a control method within the state of Idaho. Like, that's it. But this bill tells them who they're allowed to pay now and how to pay them. Like, they don't have to, there's not a checks and balance with it. Anyways, here it is. The board may contract with the director of the Idaho State Department of Agriculture for legal and fiscal services as required under this act. So who is that? Well, I looked it up. Director of the Idaho State Department of Agriculture. Who is that? Google it. Pull it up. Leadership. Director, Cecilia somebody. Now let's go back over here. In the about, members of the Wolf Depredation Control Board include, so they have to get permission from her to do and pay things, as the bill reads throughout. So the person sitting on the board also is the person, anyways, conflict of interest all over the place, especially when it comes to state entities managing money, or especially when it comes to something that's so negatively can impact our environment and ecosystem that are public lands that citizens like you and I, which reads under the wolf management plan, that you and I, citizens, have a equal right and role to saying and voicing and being and having as anybody else. That's why I'm really worked up about this thing. The second section is full of other stuff, and most notably is that they're raising their annual budget from $100,000 to $300,000. So they added this little section on that. And they took out some other stuff, but anyways. Section 3 talks about trapping year-round. So year-round on all private property and the tags. So hunting is open year-round, and the method of take, which take, as we'll read throughout, is the word meaning kill. When you kill a wolf, they're calling it take. I don't know why they don't just call it what it is. It might have something to do with how they feel about what they're doing, that they can't just actually call it when you kill a wolf. Alright, so I want to get down to section 5, where it talks about the Idaho Wolf Management Plan, because it adds references to the plan in here, and that's where we get that 150 number. So besides the money, then conflict of interest, and the stuff that makes anybody skin kind of crawl and go like, why are they allowing themselves to do this? And also, one notable thing that's mentioned here is 30 days. It used to be they had 10 days after killing a wolf to report it. Now they have 30 days after killing a wolf to report it to the appropriate agencies so that populations can be counted. And as we've seen from other states and other wolf hunts of this sort, populations can be decimated in like a week or a weekend, let alone 30 days. So we won't know how many wolves have been killed for a 30-day cycle potentially. So let's say here in September, October, or it's easier to hunt in the winter, there could be a huge hunt in January or February, and we won't know how many for like 30 days, how many wolves are left alive. Meaning they could kill all of them in theory without Fish and Game and the relevant agencies knowing how many has been killed. So I'm going to read this in its entirety. They've used this statement they say here at the beginning. They've used that quite a few times. So take a drink with me and buckle up. So, control of depredation of wolves on wildlife population. Wolves may be disposed of by any federal agency, state agency, private contractor, which is the new part. The first two are good. New part's iffy. Political subdivision of the state of Idaho, agency of another state, when population has exceeded the recovery goals of the Idaho Wolf Conservation and Management Plan in an effort to maintain balance for all wildlife populations. Wolves so taken shall be reported to the director within 30 days of being taken. A permit must be obtained from the director. Okay, so what's the Idaho Wolf Conservation and Management Plan? This is what I mentioned in the other video as being outdated, that we really, as people, are hoping to get updated and reflect current science and the current hearts of citizens. Because from what I can find, it's from 2002. I cannot find, I thought there was a 2008 plan that was kind of shot down in 2009, which again, these plans are really weird. It's like when a new... Here's what seems to be happening, which is unfortunate because it just means people are being cruel. Politicians are being cruel. But when a new administration takes office on their way out, they do some jabs, so to speak. And in 2008, Bush did some, which stripping some protections from animals. I don't know why. Go figure. But in 2009, Obama was reinstating some protections and undoing some other things, right, that the previous administration did. And then so goes, Obama did the same thing when he was leaving office with other things, not animals, but stuff. I'm not going to just say it's all one party that does this to the other party. It happens all over the board. And then fast forward to today, when last October, the previous administration toted this huge Environmental Species Act stuff, endangered species. It's recovered all the way. It doesn't need any more protections, which isn't true based on its former recovery, former populations, to where it is now. I don't understand why they would think it's recovered when, yes, it is doing well, but it's not anywhere near what it used to be. So, doesn't make any sense. Anyways, they did that in October. Maybe they knew it was looking like they were going to be voted out of office. I don't know. But here we are now, into July 2021, and here is the current wolf conservation and management plan. And right here, you saw me click. Here it is, March 2002. I don't understand. It's pretty long and pretty comprehensive, but I do want to dive into this a little bit because people use this word recovery as if it's recovered. So I don't know what the intent of the authors of this wolf management plan truly was, or the original one where these words were taken from. Because even in this one, they're a little concerned about the wolf getting back on the endangered species list as extremely threatened, because this was in 2002 after it met criteria for the previous management plan. Idaho was taking over management of the animal, and then therefore they needed to come up with a plan on how they were going to do that. Here it is. The original management plan said 10 breeding pairs, and Idaho added 5 and now say 15 breeding pairs, probably to just give them 5 breeding paired padding in case it drops below that. Then they get a big slap on the wrist. I don't know. It drops below that and their management sucks. So I'm going to read a few spots in here. The goal of this conservation and management plan is to ensure the long-term survival of wolves in Idaho while minimizing wolf-human conflict that result when wolves and people live in the same vicinity. Conservation of wolves require management. Management of wolves means ensuring adequate numbers for long-term persistence of the species, as well as ensuring that landowners, land managers, other citizens, you and I, and their property are protected. That sounds really good. We want the wolves to persist. Yeah, we want animals in nature to keep things wild and conserve and preserve our wild spaces so that the ecosystem is healthy and things operate really well. Sure, sounds really good. All right, moving on. Okay, so here's where we get the population objective in this executive summary. Population objective. Wolf population estimates are, at best, approximations. An establishment of specific population size to be maintained is not realistic. In most instances, wolves can be managed similar to how other large native mammalian predators, black bears and mountain lions, are traditionally managed. Idaho Fish and Game will manage wolves within the state according to the chart on page 5. If it can be shown that wolves can expand their range without causing unacceptable conflict, they will be allowed to do so. However, population growth is unlikely to be controlled by sport hunting. In general, regardless of their location, wolf packs that are not creating conflict will be allowed to persist. By their own words, and from other data and science, and including data and science they show in here, they're intending to do this is the bill, in such a way that pulls back the population to that bare minimum number. So let's go look at page 5, table 1, so you can see this bare minimum number. Here it is, table 1, summary of wolf management plan. Less than the 15 packs, this is when it's less than the objective. What will happen over here on the left column, including less than 10 packs, revert to control plan, specifically the final rule, which is the Endangered Species Act stuff, listing under endangered species. So over here, it's like they just don't want it to get that low, including even like when it's low, non-lethal control will be taken. So more than 15 packs, management. And this is where it's like, doesn't say anything about how many to have. It just says if it's more than this, here's what we'll do. Not kill them down to that 15 packs, which is 150 wolves. Oh, it just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense why the legislators, not consulting the Idaho Fish and Game, list this plan as and weaponize the plan, the wolf management plan, to reflect an agenda to get the wolves at 150 wolves, which is the 15 breeding pairs, the 15 packs. Because they estimate that there's 10 wolves in a pack, so 15 packs is 150 wolves. All right, so wolf managed under Idaho Fish and Game Commission regulations, similar to black bears and mountain lions. Wolf plan updated in the same process as all other species plans. I don't know what that process is. I don't really feel digging into all these nuances is really going to help us voice our opinion. All right, you can tell I'm worked up about this because it's just... Anyways, control. Depredation control is treated like all other large mammalian predators. I guess that probably means if there's a problem with the animal, depredation is a fancy word of saying you kill it. Wolves depredate livestock. Humans depredate wolves for depredating livestock. But not all the wolves are doing that. You can draw your own conclusions. You're smart people. And then this talks about monitoring. All right, so that's how they're coming up with that 15 packs, because it specifically says that the population has exceeded the recovery goals of the Idaho Wolf Conservation and Management Plan. Exceeded the recovery goals. So as it pertains to the management plan, my thought is just like the goal is to have more. Let's keep reading because it talks about how much more in the management plan here. And this is of note because this is how the wolf went to being managed by state entities. It started with only 15 wolves in 1995, and by 2001 these are breeding pairs, this column, there was 14 breeding pairs. So these numbers, this 10 consecutive number, was originally in the recovery plan by the endangered species, saying that in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, and it talks about that here in this Idaho Fish and Game Wildlife Management Plan for the wolf. In Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, each of those sections has 10 breeding pairs for like 3 or 4 years consecutively. Then it can be relisted differently or reclassified or managed by the state or tribal entities. So that's what happened here. That's why in 2002 they came up with this management plan. In the 2002, and this is again going to show like this doesn't reflect current science and numbers, because in this wildlife management plan it talks about livestock in Idaho, and there was only 2 investigations, 2 happenings in 95 when they were introduced. Let's fast forward to 96, there was 37, or to 2000 there was 37 in 2000. Of these wolf-related cases, a total of 176 sheep and 35 cows were confirmed as being lost to wolves over the 5-year period. So in 5 years, 37 cows and 176 sheep that were on public land, probably mostly, maybe some on private. That doesn't seem like a lot of the millions of cows and sheep. That's not a lot in a 5-year period. All right, and here's where it starts to talk about the wolf management goals. So they want to keep that 15 breeding pairs to ensure that wolves will not become relisted under the Endangered Species Act. The wolf population will be managed at recovery levels that will ensure viability, self-sustaining populations until it can be established that wolves in increasing numbers will not adversely affect big game populations. the economic viability of Idaho fish and game outfitters and guides and others who depend on a viable population of big game animals. If the population falls below 15 packs, they'll institute remedial management measurements. So as it pertains to this, we know by their own numbers that the elk herd population is more than it's ever been. And that last year, or 2019, I think, elk and big game hunts were among the best ever recorded for people with tags fulfilling, meaning taking, meaning killing deer and elk and other big game animals. And also I know and I've heard that the wolf has made water cleaner and healthier, making fish like the way the ecology works. The wolf in a roundabout way actually improves water habitat, which improves fishing, which then means the guides and those taking people out fishing have improved. So I know like it's helping. So by its own definition in the management goal, if it can self-sustain until it can be established that wolves are adversely affecting these things, that they won't adversely affect this stuff. By its own numbers, it has, if anything, helped these things. So again, why are they wanting to do this? Social political garbage. It's just, I think we could probably just leave it there. I think that's as much as you could really say about this bill. I know it wasn't a complete exhaustive deep dive. There's links for you below to go check all this stuff out. I hope I didn't even drink all of mine. But I hope you enjoyed your drink and enjoyed learning a little bit about what is happening here in Idaho and with wildlife management, because it just really feels like this is not okay, and we need people to know actually what things say, because I've heard influential people say that these 15 breeding pairs, 150 wolves, was agreed upon decades ago, and it clearly is not what this says. We didn't agree that that's the maximum, so anything above that we should kill down to that. That's not what it says at all, but yet that's how they're treating it, that's how they're writing it in, and I don't know who's profiting from this. I know I'm probably going to do some more research and show you guys some more chasing down the money, because when you follow the money, it leads back to the governor's house, and it leads back to these private contractors, and hundreds of thousands of dollars is a lot of money to kill wolves. Anyways, I'm starting to rant, so I'll stop. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or whatever you're doing. Please like, subscribe, the YouTube usual things. But most importantly, and again, please share this with kind humans who care about wild places remaining wild. They want to conserve, they want to restore, they care. Because wolves are a keystone species, and they are too key to kill like this. It matters for our air quality, it matters for our water quality, it matters for our soil quality. It just matters too much to undo this. Maybe I should do a video on the unintentional consequences of what happened when we got rid of the wolf and what's happening now when we got the wolf back. Because there's both goods and bads from both, and the good for having the wolf in the environment far outweigh the bad. So anyways, see you guys later.